What do you do when you don't know what you want? When you know you're desperate but don't know why? When you can't express how you feel even to yourself? And when a way out seems 1,000 to 1 chance.
If she was my wife, I'd beat her.
Not in England, you wouldn't. Things are very different.
You've been married a long time?
We're not married. Been together a long time. We work in the same office.
What do you do?
I copy out birth and death certificates.
Work like that would kill me.
It doesn't, that's the trouble.
Are you going to Florence? It will be hot there now. Terrible. You shouldn't stay just in the cities. Go to the country, the villages, like my village, Rocca. The sea's on one side, and the river, the Magre, on the other. When the sea is too rough or too hot, you can always bathe in the river. It's cool. The water comes down from the mountains. The trees are wonderful. You can forget everything.
I'm just going to freshen up.
Is she always so cheerful?
She's an optimist.
Optimistic women are tiring. They are easily satisfied.
You're right there.
But to be satisfied is not enough. Sometimes it's more important to be happy.
One oughtn't really to wear dark glasses.
Why not?
We weren't born with dark glasses.
We weren't born in this blistering, bloody, awful heat either.
Tessie! Tessie! Florence, isn't it marvelous? Under the rule of Lorenzo de' Medici, the city prospered and the arts flourished. To his love of beauty, we owe many of the fine monuments that grace the parks and piazzas of this magnificent city. De' Medici was not only dedicated to the tactile arts, he also bestowed favors on many practitioners of the more contemplative arts. He himself wrote many fine verses in various styles. Oh, look, here's a poem he wrote. Quant'è bella giovinezza, how beautiful is youth, che si fugge tuttavia, but it flies all the same. Chi vuol esser lieto sia, who wants to be happy must be. Di domani non c'è. Florence includes a church, a stroll through a market, a chat with a craftsman in his workshop, visit vessels left somewhere near the coast, and the city visited from Florence. Winding up, weather permitting, with a view over the city from one of the hillsides. If not everything is squeezed into the visit, often less turns out small. Never a metropolis, and with a shorter history than most great cities, Florence nevertheless led the rest of the world in art, science, and political idealism from the Middle Ages to modern times. No one has ever been able to decide if it was a miraculous coincidence or simply in the nature of the surrounding countryside. Giotto, Brunelleschi, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Galileo, and so many other giants were all Florentines. And the great quality of the visible remains which they have left behind. Lake Florence, the Medici, Piazza Annunziata, San Lorenzo, the Duomo, Palazzo Pitti, Marcello, Croce, Vecchio, Santa Piazza, Palazzo. source of inspiration of the reliefs informs us of the religious, moral, and social ideas of the early 14th century. From the sins of forefathers, work is born and carried out by men under the capricious influence of the palace. But there is also the possibility of salvation by means of virtue and the sacrament. Alan, you're spilling it. Alan, it's such a pity. All these wonderful days in Florence, and you're not getting anything out of it.
There's nothing for me to get.
Don't always pretend to be so different. If you'd just come and see them with me once, you'd love it. Just try them once with me. Come with me tomorrow. Please. This is the original, David. All the others are copies. Those are the prisoners. They're quite different. They're unfinished. Come and see the David.
What are they saying? What can art ever say? Can there be ever even the faintest communication between anyone, even for a moment? Were these tortured forms just the unfinished, unintentional work in progress of another man locked in his own struggle just as uselessly 5 centuries ago? Or were there something more? A message? A signal? Today, to me, to topple the rocks, be free.
It's most extraordinary, isn't it?
I'm through. Through with my bloody awful life. I'm through.
Alan! The wonderful thing about you is one never knows what you'll say next. Well, what did you want to tell me?
About the sculptures.
Oh, yes, they were super, weren't they? Well, what were you going to say?
Nothing. Doesn't matter. So hot. I'm going to Rocca.
What, and where's Rocca?
Don't know exactly. It's a little village by the sea. On a river.
You can go to the sea anytime. We haven't seen Florence yet.
You don't have to come if you don't want to.
Of course I'll come. I'll come just to be with you.
To be with me. Prepare to submerge.
I'll do that too. Senta, signore, 2 gelati, per favore.
Hey, Olo, like the wind, eh?
Yes, that's my name, like the wind. Just the two of you.
It's lovely. Very clean.
This is my youngest daughter, Carla.
How'd you do?
Just say, she'll do anything you want.
May I help you unpack, Signora?
Oh, no, I can manage, thank you. I hope nothing's greased.
What's that yacht there?
This is the Gibraltar.
Would you like to look at her through this, Signore? She's owned by a lady. Everybody calls her the American. Some people think she's very strange. She's nice to me.
Alan, it's wonderful. There are some marvelous ruins here. We can visit them tomorrow.
Through to you. Are you the answer at last?
You're going to leave her? Is she pretty? You mean you're not right for each other? Does she believe you? Have you told her yet? I'm always on the men's side. I don't know why. Maybe it's because women cling to men whether they're right for them or not. Girls can't change easily at first. And then, afterwards, they change too quickly.
Have you had many boyfriends?
Lots. I was even married once to a sailor. But he left me.
When you find someone you like better than the others, do you try and hang on to him?
Of course. I do everything to keep him. I beg him to stay. I cry, I sob. But sometimes the shoe is on the other foot. Don't stay with her while she's packing. You won't be able to bear it. I will be at the dance tonight. Ciao.
Ciao.
Darling! Here you are, darling. I'm so sorry.
Sorry about what?
It was your birthday. I forgot it was your birthday. Many happy returns of yesterday. The old man said you changed rooms in the middle of the night.
Yes, I was so hot. Couldn't sleep.
Wait for me. I'll get a towel. I'll come down with you to the beach.
No, I'm just going in the river here.
The river?
I feel like fresh water.
Oh, the sea is much cleaner.
The river is cooler.
Okay, then I'll see you later. You meet up with me on the beach. Alan? Did you have a good swim?
Fine.
Come and join us.
No thanks.
Are things about the boat?
Ottima, vai!
Sorry.
Aolo! Another Negroni, please.
Oh, Alan, that's the fourth you've had.
It won't be the last.
Buongiorno, Eolo.
Buongiorno, signora.
That's the American.
Excuse
They're not ripe.
Were you at the dance last night?
You know our father is.
Eolo, won't you let Carola come with me tonight?
Can I take her?
I would think about that.
Do you see what a monster is?
I promise you won't dance with anyone but me.
Feeling better?
Sure.
Let's go up into the dunes and sunbathe. I'll get our things. Are you angry with me?
It's not that. I just think we ought to call the whole thing off.
What do you mean?
Our being together's just a habit. I think we ought to part.
Why?
We don't love each other.
Explain what you mean.
We just don't love each other. You can't explain that.
Well, what have I done?
Nothing.
You're mad. What do you propose to do?
Go back and have a drink.
I've got an orange. And what about me?
You'll go back, I'll stay here.
You can say what you like. I know you'll never give everything up like this. You're too cautious, too set. What's the matter?
I don't think we should talk about it anymore. Let's have a drink.
Were you looking at her while I was talking to you?
You weren't talking to me, you were talking to yourself.
I'm hot.
Do you want to go for another swim?
No, we must talk about it.
It's no use.
If it's just the job I could change to, we could look for something together.
It won't work.
Father said I can come with you.
Good.
But you'll need a chaperone. Won't she?
The young girl always does. I'll go and get ready.
You make friends quickly.
I was here last night.
I love this place. I'd be sorry to leave it.
When are you leaving?
Tomorrow night.
Do you keep such a strict timetable?
One has to, otherwise it'd be none at all. Oh, please, Carla, go and choose a disc for me.
Why do they call you the American? You don't talk like one.
I'm French. My husband was American. Vous dansez, monsieur?
Avec plaisir, mademoiselle.
What are you going to do now?
I like to live in the open air, on the sea.
The sea's a profession. It takes a lot of learning.
I could always polish brasswork. Don't you have enough on your yacht to keep someone busy? Sorry, I was just joking.
I used to polish the brasswork on the yacht.
On the Gibraltar?
It was called a cypress then. I was a stewardess, more or less. That's how I met my husband. He owned it. You see, where polishing brasswork can get you.
I'll get you a drink. What do you want?
A cognac.
Salute. Ah, vous dansez, mademoiselle?
Avec plaisir, monsieur.
Je suis comme je suis. Ne pleure pas tant.
You spend most of your time on that yacht.
Most.
Why?
I'm looking for someone.
Who?
A man.
What man?
A sailor. A man I was in love with.
It's ridiculous.
Possibly.
Why don't you try advertising?
You can't advertise for a murderer. Thank you.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
You were looking at something. Come on. What was it?
He had his car. A kind of little ridge. Quite small. Very difficult to find. About here.
It's the only way you can recognize them?
It's the only way I could be sure. Oh, Alan. None of the others ever noticed when I did that to them.
What others?
Others like you. Do you still want to polish the brass work?
You want me to?
I want you to do what you want to do. But perhaps you're already bored with the women of the sailor from Gibraltar. We sail about 5.
Just one thing. What did you do with the others when you were tired of them?
I threw them overboard.
Maybe this really is it. The 1,000 to 1 chance at last.
Candy! Anything else? Anyone going ashore? Okay, bring her aboard.
You're not feeling sad.
Things look so different from a boat.
Does it seem strange?
Like being another person.
I'll show you your cabin. Will this do?
Was it his? The murderer's?
Yes.
And the ones you threw overboard?
Yes, of course.
Tell me about the others.
They were a mixed lot. I make lots of mistakes.
Tell me about them.
There was one who bought everything, from a white tuxedo to lavender toilet water. He couldn't live without it. Another one arrived aboard and said, regularity is health, and did 45 on deck 3 times a day. One read Hegel. He thought it could give me great insight into my present condition. So I gave him enough money to read Hegel for a year ashore. But worst of all was the one who believed in God. He felt sorry for the sailor and wanted to pray for him.
Any others?
The others were not as amusing. Oh, yes. There's one I've forgotten. All his life, he worked in a registry office. He wanted just one thing, to polish the brasswork on a boat. All his life, he waited for... What were you waiting for?
What's anyone waiting for?
The sailor from Gibraltar.
You know, you're a wonderful whore.
Our whore's wonderful?
I think so.
It's all right, then. When I drink, there's danger. I punch up any stranger, but I don't knock up a girl. I am Jean Le Rouge, but I'm a refuge, traveling the wide, wide world. I find nice young girls aboard, they are not much good in bed. I want easy dogs instead, who know what love is for. Sailing 7 oceans, the Orient's love potions often helped me on my way. One wife in San Diego, one more in Tobago, and another in Bombay. When my ship came from afar, on the port above the noise, little toffee-colored boys would cry bonjour, papa. I've survived tornadoes from Bali to Barbados. Ships went down and I just laughed. Knew some native maiden, east or west of Aden, would swim out to meet my round. Cannibals for me have charm. At the feast I used to cram myself full of human ham. It hasn't done much harm. Now I tell this story, adventure and amore, just to get a bite to eat. Wanted to be Jean Le Rouge, this bar's my only refuge. Always had dry land beneath my feet. My horizon is the sky, between the houses I walk by. I'm just one poor sod, it seems, who lives a life of dreams. Oh, stop it! How are you doing?
We are right on schedule.
Where are we going? Somewhere in particular?
To Hydra.
Why Hydra?
I had a message.
When did this message come?
Just before we left Roca. I hadn't had one for months. It seemed like an omen.
Why didn't you tell me?
Why should I?
Who's it from?
A sailor. Nuri. He says he's seen him. One has to make sure.
Why does the sailor suddenly start to be real to me now? Why does he have to intrude? Why hasn't Anna forgotten him? Why is everyone talking about him? Speculating on his past and his adventures? Arguing over his motives? Yarning of the others? The pimps and the procurers everywhere who know Anna's story and exploit it for themselves. Only two things they all agree on. He was once in the Foreign Legion, and the man he murdered was a Canadian, a millionaire who manufactured ball bearings, a man called Nelson. Facts by themselves are empty. I've got to know more about the sailor.
Tell me about him.
I've told you. He was a murderer. He was 20.
What else?
When you're a murderer, you're nothing else. Especially at 20.
What did he look like?
Very brown. Lean. Dark hair. Blue eyes. Very blue eyes. We picked him up at sea in a small boat off Gibraltar. He was making distress signals.
Why?
He had joined the Foreign Legion to escape from being arrested. But no army could hold a man like him. He deserted, stole the boat, and for 3 days he'd been drifting. He was half dead of thirst. He was burned by the sun. He smelt of the brandy he'd been given to revive him. Later in the evening, I went to his cabin. He jumped up and he asked me, "Do I have to get out of here?" He couldn't even imagine a woman beside him. Perhaps that's what attracted me.
That and the distress signals,
He asked for nothing. When you did something for him, he took it with a sort of detachment that left both of you free. When you've known innocence, when you've seen it asleep at your side, you never quite forget it. It changes you.
Did he love you?
He could do without me, without anyone. He wanted the big cities, the bright lights, the boulevards, the movies. I was just a woman. How could I compete with all that?
All you wanted was the greatest love ever,
Who doesn't?
Why did he ever leave you?
It began one evening. He suddenly wanted to play poker. He'd always played when he was a boy, but after the murder, he stopped. And that night, he began again. He lost more than he won, and he flung the money on the table with a kind of joy. I'd never seen him like that. It was then I knew I'd soon lose him. A week later, we got to Shanghai. He told me he was going to play and that he would be late getting back. I waited all night. He didn't return. I searched the town, couldn't find him. I came back to the boat, fell asleep. And in the morning, we'd left. But that wasn't the worst.
No?
We never admitted we loved each other. Oh, once, the first evening when we made love, he said, "I love you." But he could have said it in the same way to any whore. Not even a wonderful one. And I wanted to say it all the time, every day. Never did. I knew all the words of love, but I couldn't bring myself to say one. You didn't like it, did you?
No, but I wanted to hear it just the same.
It's him you don't like. The sailor from Gibraltar.
Yes. I hate him.
But you wanted to hear his story.
It's my favorite sort of story, the kind that goes on forever.
Why do you hate him then?
Probably because I was sitting on my arse in an office while he was embarking on his glittering career. But it's not that, really.
What is it then?
It's what you've made of him.
Good night.
Buonanotte, signora. Cosa è successo?
Why didn't you come?
I never murdered anybody.
It's not so easy. You've got to have the chance.
I never did. The only thing I ever killed was a pigeon when I was 8. And that's only because I was forced.
We arrive in Hydra tomorrow morning. Do you want to...
Go ashore?
Yes.
No.
A little sooner, a little later. What difference does it make?
It'd be like leaving the movie before the end.
I'm glad you think there'll be an end.
Go back to your cabin.
I've been working as a truck driver.
Well?
Well, that is how I met this character. He runs a service station on the main road between Athens and Suno. Geno, that is what they call him. I know, it doesn't prove anything. Listen, in Bangkok, I'm known as Brahmaputra. In Saloniki, Themistocles. One day I asked him straight out. I said, why are you alone? And he said, I had a woman once and she clung to me like a limpet. I don't want to start that all over again. Well, how do you recognize someone you've never seen before, huh? At first, I go by my instinct, huh?
I know all about that instinct of yours.
Ah, but then you follow it up. I find out one thing quite soon, though. He used to be a sailor.
And did you ask him where he had been?
Oh, I wasn't as crude as all that. I talked to him about the places I'd been to. And then one day I casually mentioned the word Gibraltar. I said, had he been there? And do you know what he said? What sailor does not know Gibraltar?
Nuri, you're a genius.
That's not all. I've heard him whistling songs they sing in the Foreign Legion.
How do you know the songs they sing in the Foreign Legion?
From the movies. And one evening, Anna, I needed some ball bearings. And he said to me, I have the best kind, Nelson. Only a hardened killer would do a thing like that.
Is he dark?
Dark, with rather curly hair.
His eyes?
Like the sea.
How tall is he?
Oh, a bit taller than myself, no more.
Show me.
Oh, it's about that much again.
It isn't likely you'd be mistaken about that. His voice?
He always talks as though he had a bit of a cold.
You wouldn't lie to me, would you? Why shouldn't he work in a service station?
There's nothing worse than spying and nothing more squalid than jealousy. Then why am I doing it? Why can't I stop here, now?
Τι θέλεις, Δεσποινίδα?
Λάδι, παρακαλώ.
Παρακαλώ.
Αέρα για το λάστιχο, παρακαλώ.
Στην απέναντι πλευρά, παρακαλώ.
Well, if she's taking so long, I guess she wants to make quite sure.
She's probably making quite sure it's not him now.
All she really wants is one fast, hot lay.
That is much too cut and dried in American point of view. Listen. If she wants a man, if she has all these experiences, it is because she wants to find out something about herself. You can say all you like, but this time I've really found him. Ah, here she comes. Well? Oh, it is terrible, terrible. And I was so sure I've upset you for nothing again.
It's never quite for nothing. It's always one less.
And if you feel that way, you've got all the time in the world to find him. I'm glad you can see the funny side of it.
I always see the funny side. I'm a bit funny myself. I think I'm very strong, but I'm really very weak.
It is never quite him. There is always something wrong.
It's the third time you've been absolutely sure. You remember once he kept a brothel in Constantinople. And another time in Port Said he was, what was he exactly in Port Said?
A bloody barber. There is always something wrong. Either the story doesn't tally, or it is the voice, or the scar.
Oh, in the long run, you mustn't look too closely at a man. It's like drinking. Moderation is necessary. Salute.
Even if there was only one man left on Earth, you'd always hope it would be him. Still, I suppose you've got to go through to the end.
I think I have one other idea. I think you should look in Africa.
Africa's a big place. Be more precise.
I have heard of a man who, when he's drunk, talks of an Anna of the Cyprus. And that he likes his women a la American. Hey, and guess where?
Djibouti.
Mozambique. Alexandria! No, why not? It is not very far.
Why are you so on edge?
this ship will always be on edge until we find him.
How would you feel if I found him in Alexandria?
I'm not sure. Relieved, probably. I lack that glamorous aura of distress that appeals to you. For 15 years, when I was a boy in Ceylon, my father started every day by inspecting the ears of the staff to see if they were washed. We eat lunch exactly at 1, tea at 5, dinner at 8. I long for him to die. I thought how different life would be when I could choose for myself. Funny, when I finally escaped from him, nothing really changed. Till I met you. And now I'm living the life I thought I wanted, and I'm not sure I'm cut out for it. Anna, why do you go on looking for me?
One doesn't easily change the purpose of one's life.
You've no purpose.
I loved him. You don't even know what that means.
You didn't love him. You loved the myth you made out of him. Crime, mystery, adventure, freedom, innocence, looking at the world through the eyes of a child. It's romantic crap.
What's happening to us?
Nothing.
Oh, but there is.
Nothing. I fell asleep.
You must find something to do on the boat.
I'll start reading Hegel.
There's a great difference between saying things and leaving them unsaid, you know.
I don't know whether there's all that difference.
In any relationship, you have to learn everything all over again.
You're stupid.
We'll never be able to talk to each other.
One day, when you're a little less stupid, I'll tell you a long, funny story which never ends.
Tell it me now.
Far too early yet. And in it, I'll tell you how you can banish him.
There's no one in the world who can tell me anything about banishing him.
I think I could tell you how we could banish him together.
Suppose I'd invented it all.
Everything?
Everything.
It wouldn't change things very much. Existed after all? Or is it just a gesture for now? Anna offering to give him up? So it's come to that?
Yes, it's come to that. Say something to me. Doesn't matter what. like you to be like this. Like a stone wall.
Great love. What do they mean when they say that? Clue was unexpected and unannounced.
Oh, here is a gentleman with some information for you.
I am Louis of Mozambique. Let me say what a lovely boat you got here.
Excuse me, but what is your business with us?
What I have to say is for this woman alone.
Via.
Get the hell out of here. In Bunovaio, capital of Zimbabwe, there's a certain white sailor. But since there are prying ears everywhere, let's call it a kudu, a white kudu. Its origin is widely known among men who hunt this rarest of game animals. And this white kudu is the one you have long been searching for. The others looking for it too. Many wrongdoings are attributed to it. On the Great Rock, in the fabulous capital of Paris. So great is the prestige of the Gibraltar sailor that our wives and daughters run after him the way they used to in the past, when they made love at any hour, any age, and in any position.
But what is the sail... Well, kudu really look like?
Yeah, I've lived so long in darkest Africa, I'm sorry. To me, one white man looks like another.
Where is he now?
Taken to the bush in the Longatipi Basin, among the Mambutu tribes, which, as you probably know, have a certain reputation for cannibalism. No need to be afraid, madame. The Gibraltar sailor himself has assured me that if the authorities should be prepared to extradite him, he would encourage his friends, the cannibals, to eat him on the occasion of the annual banquet.
How can we find him?
I'm going to Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa, the great city. You should go in the same direction. I can take you to Legrand. He's the great expert on the haunts of the white kudu.
So you're Anna?
Yes. And you?
Do they come too?
Of course.
I'll think about it.
Oh, I'm rich.
How rich?
Filthy rich.
In that case, we might come to a clean arrangement. Meet me at Abonnet's in the morning.
Look! There he is.
Well, it's about time.
What do we bought those guns for?
If it's such a rare bird, we might as well go hunting for something else for a bit.
Yudu, Maligani.
Kule upande wa pili, ng'ambo kule, kuvuka mpaka upande wa pili. Moja kwa moja tu kule. Upande wa pili wa mto kabisa huko.
Kweli bwana Legrand.
Kwaheri, Bwana Grant. Donan.
Well, what is happening?
The police have raided the village, so we'll try another one up the river. Come on. Django, wapi kutu kama hapa kijiji?
Yupo kijijini na mwanamke.
Ah, this is the place. Karibu. Na wapi bwana?
Hayupo hapa tena.
It's the same story. He's disappeared again. But there's a woman he has been living with. She won't say where he is.
A new player enters, and there's another threat. Another 1,000 to 1 chance.
Tell her that there's every chance of a mistake.
Wanato Vauti.
Tell her I've been looking for him for many years.
Wamanki Lebawana Sierra Lealde. We better try some of the others.
No, I want only to speak to her. Tell her that he has a very individual scar on his body, which only a woman like her, or like me, would notice.
Nabuana Sierra Yana Kobu. Amanwa Kobu Nabuana Kambori.
Hapana ajabu yoyote kwa mwanamume kuwa na kovu, maana wanaume wengi wana kovu.
She says most men have scars. She'll keep you waiting all night.
I'm used to that. Where was his scar? Where was his scar? It's not the same scar. It's not the same scar.
Alexandria, Nori insisted. So we returned.
Think of it. This will be the last time we'll ever go ashore together to search for him. There in that cafe under the mosque, your true love shall meet you.
I'm not going ashore.
I don't want to.
I'm going.
Are you from that ship, Gibraltar, that arrived today?
Yes. Do you know her?
I have heard of the Gibraltar.
Not Gibraltar. Cyprus. Bring me 2 coffees. Information is competitive business here. But Nuri knows that my information is better than anyone's.
So you knew the Gibraltar in the old days, eh?
If you'd have been a sailor, you'd have heard about Gibraltar and of the Americana. Except, of course, she's French.
Well, that's common knowledge. Is that all you got to sell?
I sell pictures. All kinds. Perhaps this may interest you. And Anna. Bring her here in half an hour. And the murderer will be waiting for her. Inside.
Give me another drink.
Oh, no, you've had quite enough.
Ah, bah, je vais chercher.
All right, I'll get you another drink. Hey, thank goodness you've come.
I'm a little drunk.
Well, here you are.
Oh, thank you.
No, don't drink anymore. We're going into town.
Why?
Because there's someone I want you to meet.
Oh, there's no use. No use for anything.
I know there isn't, but we're going all the same.
Well, I need
I'll see
my
you later,
hat
hmm?
then.
Listen, I want you to sit here.
Why?
Just sit down. Can't you do something about your hair, for God's sake?
I haven't got a comb.
Hey, I'm going inside.
Oh, I'm going with you.
No, stay here.
Why? Women aren't allowed inside?
2.
Women aren't allowed inside?
Wait here. There's someone I want you to meet. beat-up, broken-down sailor in a broken-down bar, that can't have been the sailor. Or can it? But who was he? What was this fight, and why did he run? This isn't real. What's it to do with me? It's a thriller, a mystery. It's like being in a movie.
I love you.
Lines from a movie. That's all I can ever say. Out of all the 1,000 things I wanted to express. But sometimes maybe it's not bad to say them. Or have them said to you.
وخيالك عايش في خيالي والصبر يا ريته يصبرني ولا يفرح طولجي من خوفي لحبك ولا طولجي
Birds, said Anna, have existed forever, like love. But even then, there's still the 1,000-to-1 chance.
Hey, Anna, a message has just come through. There is news he's in Yokohama.
It would be terrible if sailors didn't exist.
We would have to invent them.